when you are participating in those activities as the leader, I know that the time will come. You can do everything right. You can do everything right. You can do everything perfect, and you're still, a roadside bomb doesn't care. Random mortar falling from the sky doesn't care. Sniper, there was enemy snipers over there. They killed Corporal Chris Leon from a rooftop. We spent so much time on rooftops, it was ridiculous. I was on rooftops all the time, and at any of those times, and we all would hear snaps going over your head. Was that the one? So when you're living in that environment as the leader, you know that the time is going to come. And that was the worst. The worst is if I wasn't going out, the knot in your stomach. It's more better to be out there, because then you're thinking about things and it feels better. But you just have the knot. And by the way, we'd almost, there was, most of the time I had guys in the field, whether it was a 6-man element, whether it was a 4-man element, whether it was a platoon doing a hit, whether it was, we were all out there. There was a lot of times where guys in the field. So, when you're going to memorial services on a very regular basis, that eventually your luck is going to run out. And that's exactly what happened. Eventually you're going into enemy territory. There's enemy fighters everywhere. The enemy fighters are determined. They have no rules of engagement. And they eventually, yeah. So Mark got killed. He was the first SEAL killed in Iraq. He was a fucking stud. Just an incredible, gregarious, funny, positive, faithful, charismatic dude. And that's, when he got killed, obviously it hurt and destroyed the feeling of invincibility for us, but also talking to the Army guys then and after, it hurt everybody because we were able to accomplish a lot. And it's interesting. Here's a different perspective. When you're on the battlefield and significant acts, SIG acts, are being reported, everybody hears them. So when NSWTU ran, which is us, or when, Red Bull, which is our call sign, when Red Bull 1-6 reports something, it gets sent out back to the brigade. So there's a bunch of people that are listening to that. And so when you kill, one enemy fighter crossing Route Sunset at 200 meters, fired one round, resulting in one enemy fighter killed, RPG disabled. So everyone hears that. Not immediately, but eventually, the platoon commander from some Army unit goes, "Hey, dude, the SEALs just whacked another guy. Hey, the SEALs just killed a guy. Hey, the SEALs just killed a guy putting in a mortar. Hey, the SEALs just killed a guy that put an IED in the road." So everyone, and by the way, we're hearing the same thing. It's we hear that when stuff happens, when they do that as well. So everyone's it's this kind of unifying thing that everyone's kind of getting the word. And again, I don't want to make it sound like everyone's hearing it over one radio call, but if you're my platoon chief and the Army hits an IED, 2 blocks over, and there's a big boom, and they say, "Hey, whatever, Alpha Platoon just hit an IED." You come and say, "Hey guys, hey boys, Army just hit an IED over on Route Sunset." See what I'm saying? So there's like a common knowledge. This idea that we're out there like operating alone is just, it wasn't true in Ramadi at all. Yeah. We were all operating with a common, in many cases on a common net. So when for months, what the Army and the Marine Corps hears is like, SEAL killed another guy, SEALs killed another guy, SEALs killed another guy, SEALs killed another guy, SEALs killed another guy. They're stoked, especially when it's like, oh, they lose a guy to an IED and then SEALs killed an IED in placer. Or they lose a guy to a mortar, SEALs killed a mortar guy. And that's literally what would happen. So when Mark got killed, it's like, oh, the SEALs are not invincible. And we learned that, and everybody learned that. And so, interestingly, of course, in the SEAL teams, we have like a protocol, an administrative protocol of what you're going to do. If you lose somebody, here's the procedures that you follow. And you start following those procedures, but those procedures are just administrative. Interestingly, we didn't even have, like you talk about World War II, you hear about replacements. It's a thing. There was no replacements. I bet when you were in, I bet you never talked about like platoon replacements for when we take casualties. Never talked about that. It wasn't a thing. And so what are we doing? That's one part of it. And then the other part is like what you mentioned, how many classes I got or how many of my senior leadership talked to me about what you do when you lose a guy in combat? No one. You know why? None of those guys had lost a guy in combat. Thank God. So it was a lot of figuring out what to do. A lot of it, I will quite frankly stole from Colonel David Hackworth. I read about face for probably had been reading it for about 5 straight years over and over again at this time. So what do you do when someone gets killed? All right, here's what we're going to do. And what we did was stood down for a couple days, sent him on his last flight home, did the memorial service, celebration of life, and then get the gear back on and go out and take the fight to the enemy. Then that's what we did. And the war doesn't stop. The enemy doesn't stop. The attacks aren't going to stop. There's still Marines and soldiers that are going to go out. They're still on the streets right now. And we got to get back out there.
It's a powerful thought process, or that's powerful just thinking about experiencing that and having to communicate those things to those guys. How was the reception from your guys when communicating that? Were any of them harder than others to kind of get back in the game? Did any of them want to seek retribution, kind of almost to a point where it was counterproductive, where it's like you're seeing red and the vengeance component is clouding your vision? Like, was there any of that, or did you have any struggles or issues, I guess, or was everybody pretty unified and getting their shit back on, being stoic and getting back out and getting after it?
Yeah, look, do people want to get retribution? Of course. The fact of the matter is, the best way to get retribution is get your gear back on and go do it. And that's what we did. That's what war is. I mean, it's, you fight and the enemy is going to come and they're not going to stop coming. And they didn't. They didn't stop coming. And so, like I said, we're going to go back out. The what you have to do, like the rules of engagement, like that's what they are. And you can't not follow the rules of engagement. You have to do the right thing. And in Ramadi, it was like, if you didn't follow the rules of engagement, you would be arrested immediately. Like like I said, there's Iraqis in your unit with you. There's Iraqi civilians that you're out meeting with. There's tribal sheikhs that are meeting with the battalion commanders. There's tribal sheikhs meeting with the brigade commanders. There's Iraqi police. You have to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't do that, you're doomed. I mean, that's just a non-starter.
Yeah. But did it change your guys' tactics at all? Like, did you pivot anything of what you were doing, or was it just fucking bad luck? And
we were always doing things a little bit different. And you take a risk somewhere, it opens up more risk somewhere else. Get rid of that risk, you open risk somewhere else. So being on rooftops, like I mentioned, like being on a rooftop, you have really good angles. You can see a lot. They can also see you. They can throw grenades on roofs. But you can cover a lot more ground, a lot more there's a lot less dead space.
Yeah.
So we're making those adjustments. Sometimes we'd insert in the day. Sometimes we'd insert at night. Sometimes we'd insert out of vehicles. Sometimes we'd foot patrol. Sometimes we'd use both. So all the lessons that we learned, that we were supposed to learn from our Vietnam forefathers, we did our best to continue to carry on those lessons learned and insert at different times, different buildings, different places, different numbers, different, sometimes use a loophole, sometimes use a window, sometimes use a mirror. We did everything.
Yeah.
And we changed it all the time.
Yeah.
So did we change tactics? Yeah. Did we make any very specific changes after that operation? Not really.
Yeah.
Because we were changing all the time.
Yeah. So that, whether it was day or night or helo or foot patrol, all that was very intentionally mixed up as much as you could.
Other than helo.
Yeah.
Because we didn't use helos.
Oh, I got you.
There was we never used a helo.
Yeah. I'm assuming it would have been Mogadishu 2.0 on fucking steroids had you done that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I've never done an operation from a helicopter.
Really?
Yeah.
That is odd.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.